This lesson is Go Math 11.4 and 11.5 for Friday, May 8th. This time we'll be problem solving by taking apart three-dimensional shapes. So Mike has cone, cube, cylinder, and rectangular prism. He chooses some shapes to build a bridge. Which shape did Mike use to build the bridge? So here's the bridge that he built. So what we need to find out is which shapes Mike chose to build his bridge. I need to use the information that tells me what shapes he has. So he has a cone, you can trace that, cube, cylinder, and rectangular prism. Trace those because it will help you to practice drawing the shapes. So now I need to look at his bridge and circle which shapes I can see in his bridge. So I can see the green have a rectangle, so that means they're the rectangular prism, so I know he used those. The blue shapes are cylinders, they're just short cylinders, but I see they have a circle at the top and they're curved. So that is cylinder, are the two shapes he used. Okay, so moving on, we see Kim use shapes to build this castle. What three-dimensional shapes did she use? So I need to find out which shape she used by looking at the shapes that she has. So I can see here are all her shapes. So to build the tower part, I can see she used a cone and a cylinder. So I'm going to circle those. To build the wall part, I can see a rectangle shape, so that means rectangular prism, and a cube because I see a square shape. Okay. To build the wall, I can see the square, so that means cube, and I can see the cylinder. Okay, and what shape did she use to build the gate? Circle it. Okay, so now we're going to find out what shapes Zach used. Zach used shapes to build this gate. Which shapes did he use? So you're going to circle. Chris used shapes to build this wall. Which shape did he use? So I can see three different shapes here, so make sure you circle all three that he used. Number 7, Rosa used cubes, cones, cylinders, and rectangular prisms to build a tower. Draw to show a tower Rosa could build. So you're going to use these 3D shapes and make a tower, however you want. Okay, page 476. Circle the ways that show the same shape. Okay, so we want to make sure that they're the same. So I can see this size and this size look similar. This one looks much bigger, so that's not the same. So the same shape would be the two that are the same size. Okay, then look through here. Which ones do you see that are the same? Look for rectangular prisms or cubes. Number 10, Sharon has many different blocks. She built this shape with her blocks. Circle all the shapes Sharon used. So color in the ones that she used. Okay, you can go ahead and do your white pages for extra practice. We're going to move on to lesson 11.5 because these are very short lessons today. Okay, so on this one we're going to use a cone. So remember we have our cone shape here. And it says Lee places a cone on a piece of paper and draws around the flat surface. So we know this is the flat surface, so he puts it down and he draws and traces the flat surface. And what is the new shape that he drew? And we can see that it is a circle, okay? It's not a sphere because it's flat. This is a 2D shape now. It's a circle, okay? All right, so we're going to trace around the flat surfaces of the three-dimensional shapes to find what two-dimensional shapes they make. So we can see on a rectangular prism, if I were to put it down and trace, I would get a rectangle, right? So I'd get a rectangle on this side, on the bottom, on the top, on this side. But if I trace this way, I will get a square. So on this top and the bottom, there is a square shape, okay? So it has a square shape on the front and the back, and then the 4 sides are all rectangle shapes. All right, so using the 3-dimensional shapes, trace around the flat surface, circle the shapes that you draw. So if you have a cube, if I trace that cube, what shape am I going to draw? And you can see it right here. It would be a square. Okay? That's how we know it's a cube. If I have a cylinder and I put it down and I trace around it, what shape would I trace? I would trace a circle. And of course, if I trace a rectangular prism, as we did up here, now we can see we would do rectangles and squares. So we have to circle both, because this is a square, but on the other 4 sides is a rectangle. Okay, now you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to look at real life objects. So which real life objects, if you traced one of the sides, would make a rectangle? Okay, so if you look at the juice box, if you see a rectangle, then circle it. Look at like a Pringles can. Is that going to make a rectangle? A paint can? A book, will that make a rectangle? Okay, find all the shapes that you can trace the side to make a circle. Find all the objects you can trace one side to make a square. And circle all the objects that you can trace and get a rectangle. Okay, now number 8, we have a new shape. This is called a pyramid. Okay, so a pyramid has, as you can see, triangle shapes on 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. If you flip it over on the bottom, you can see the bottom has a square shape. So it depends on where you trace it. So if I trace it here, I'm going to get the triangle shape. But if I trace it here, I'm going to get a square. Okay? So you can draw one of those shapes. Okay. Circle the shape that the pattern will make if you fold and tape it together. So if you fold on the dotted lines and you were to tape this together, would it make a cube or a rectangular prism? Well, this tells you the answer right here. If you see a rectangle, then you know it's going to be a rectangular prism. So you're going to circle this. Okay, if you were to fold all these and tape it, so if you look at the shape you see, okay, I see all squares. So which one should you circle? Kai wants to trace a rectangle. She finds these objects. Which object should she use? So if she traces a globe, will she get a rectangle? If she traces a jar of peanut butter, would she get a rectangle? Or a Kleenex box? So write the word here, globe, jar, or box. What would happen if Kai uses the peanut butter jar to trace a shape? What shape would she get? So remember, that's a cylinder shape. So what shape would she get? So you draw it. Okay, go ahead and do your white pages, and that takes you to the end of this book. You can go ahead and do the chapter review and test on your own at any time that you would like. So you can go back and look at your book for help if you need it. Okay, have a great day.